ties it in at bottom of the 420th inning. So there's a crack in the bat. It's hit. He's running. He's rounding first. He's rounding second, completely ignoring third base. Oh, he's sliding head first into 69th base with Doug Mellard.
Yo, welcome to another episode of 69th Base. I'm your host, Doug Mellard. Thanks for tagging along. The NFL schedules came out, and guess what? We're all going undefeated. That's right. All of our teams are going undefeated. There's optimism in the air, even though there might not be a season. We're also going to get into some predictions along with the schedules. We're going to talk some Cee Dee Lamb, some Patriots, some Bucs, and of course, what the hell happened in that Earl Thomas situation. I'll also start a rumor and much more. But first, guys, oh boy. Oh man, I am just having a good old time in quarantine, and things were going great. It's just quarantine. We're all loving it. But then my wife told me this real silly story, right? So she was in the third grade, and she's just telling me this story in passing. She's in third grade. She's hanging out with a good friend of hers, and that friend's little brother was in the first grade, and he noticed that she got excited when the show Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came on. So to show off for her, he started singing the theme song to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in order to win her affection. And while he did that, he put his arm around her neck. He's singing the song. And guys, I went into a boiling rage. You think you can put your arm around the neck of my future wife? I don't care how fucking old you are. I don't care if you're in the first grade. You got to think about your future, Doc. You know what I mean? You think that's an innocent little move there? Put your arm around her, sing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles song? You think everything's going to be okay? Well, guess what, bub? It's not okay. Chet Ripley, I'm coming for you. When I'm through with you, you're never going to sing that song again. That's right. Oh, boy. Huh. Anyway, was that all normal? Oh, man. What if I really got that upset? I think, I'm turning that into a bit for sure. I just love the idea of me losing my fucking mind for a thing that happened 30 years ago. It was very innocent and really stupid. I love the idea of a first grader needing to really watch his steps, like 3 decades down the line, the repercussions of singing a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle theme song. And I also like the name Chet Ripley. I made that up to protect the identity of this other fellow. Oh boy. Well, that was fun. Glad you guys went down that little rabbit hole with me. That was a real quick stupid story, so I'm going to throw you guys another little ditty, another joke I would be telling on the road right now. I'll tell a little joke from my upcoming album, Fart Safari 3, Fart Hard with a Vengeance. And good news, I think I'm done with my edits on my part. It's passed off. We're getting close to having a date for you guys for the new album. I'm really excited about the artwork coming up for the cover. It's going to be fun. And here's a joke from that album that I probably would be mixing in with my sets. This past weekend in San Francisco. It's a true story-ish. It happened in Austin, Texas. I was at a restaurant that I really love. I was having a great time. I went to the restroom. That's not why I was having a great time. But at one point, I'm washing my hands and I'm leaving, and as I'm leaving, the door busts wide open, and a father is just dragging his son, whose face is just pale and his cheeks are puffed up and he's clearly very sick. And the father just yells, "I told you not to eat that much ketchup." And it was so hard to not laugh my ass off. I thought that was so funny. But I went back to the sink to pretend to wash my hands more because I wanted to see how this was going to play out. So the guy is just like yelling at his son while his son just throws up the most ketchup you've ever seen in your life. But the best part, my favorite part, another guy comes in, some stranger. He has nothing to do with any of us, and he doesn't have any context as to what's going on with this kid. So he walks in, and this kid is just throwing up a red liquid, and the father is yelling at him. So that guy just assumes that this dad is like the worst dad ever, and he's just screaming at his very sick child for throwing up the most blood you've ever seen. And I know it's messed up, but I thought that was so funny, and I did not correct any of that. I just laughed internally and a little bit out loud, but kind of hit it a little bit and then just walked out. And then it told my brother how funny that was. Gotta say, I love that kid. I was mad that dad was mad at him because that kid is my spirit animal. I fucking love ketchup. When I was a kid, my mom says that I would order fries and then I would just have ketchup and I would just dip one fry into the ketchup and lick the ketchup off, and then just go back and do it again and again and again and again. Fucking love ketchup. My wife makes fun of me all the time for it. I need entirely too much ketchup. It's fucking great. But just for like burgers and fries, not anything weird. Anyway, that was a fun little bit, right? I'm a little rusty. Just realized I hadn't told that joke in forever. But there it is. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you're excited about the album. Well, guys, let's jump into the sports world where the NFL schedules came out, guys. It's exciting. It's like still kind of news. It's a little weird because it's hard to get super excited because we don't know if any of this will happen. So I did find it a little odd. It's rough, to know that this may or may not happen. It's like, oh, I want to get excited about this game, but maybe I shouldn't. I don't know. But they did come out, and I think it's so weird that there's so much optimism when the schedules come out. It's like the draft. Everybody thinks their team won the draft. Same thing with the schedules. Everybody just looks down the schedule and is like, we can win that game. We can win that game. They go up and down, and they just think we're going to win all these fucking games. When the truth is, you never fucking know what's going to happen. There could be a team that was a contender last year that falls the fuck off and collapses and wins 2 games the next, So it's hard to say, but it is fun to have that optimism and go down the schedule and see what you think. But just so many things up in the air. And there are things starting to move. It sounds like baseball might be coming back. And if baseball does, they'll be the guinea pig, which might lay foundations for the other sports. So maybe we're coming back. But I'll believe it all when I see it, you guys. In the meantime, my wife and I have created a game where we take a discarded flower pot and we throw beanbags into it. And that's as crazy as it gets. With the schedules coming out, Skip Bayless and company, of course, tore apart Tom Brady and the Buccaneers schedule. And Skip Bayless threw a shit fit, and he said that the NFL is intentionally sticking it to Tom Brady by throwing him a road game at New Orleans week 1 versus Drew Brees. He thinks that it's all a conspiracy and that the NFL just hates Tom Brady and they want him to immediately have a loss. It's all intentional. That's fucking crazy. There's so many things wrong with this. First of all, there's a chance none of this happens. Second of all, Tom Brady has done the NFL a lot of good Why would they would just want to fuck him over? I get that maybe he's cheated, Belichick, all that, and there is some hatred there, but I think Tom Brady moving to the Bucs is very good for the NFL. I'm wondering, and call me crazy, if maybe they scheduled this week 1 because it's a really exciting, cool matchup. Tom Brady, week 1 versus Drew Brees. They're both in their 40s. I mean, that's pretty great. Let's get right away to that matchup. Why would we push that back? Because the NFL has done a great job of the early weeks and the late weeks scheduling teams with their toughest opponents and biggest rivals because it's exciting. It keeps people invested. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. But yeah, no, he said it's for all the haters out there. That, you know, because the NFL, they base everything, all their decisions on the haters. So I guess it checks out a little bit. And, you know, he straight up just said it's unfair. Another way to pick that apart, you say Tom Brady is the best athlete or quarterback and everything ever. So you have no faith he can win? You say he's going to win a lot of games with the Bucs. So why can't he win there? I just think it's what people want. Or also, the schedules are complicated. The NFL has to put a bazillion things into the mix that they have to consider. Do you really think one of those is that they want to stick it to Tom Brady? I don't think so. Aside from that loss, Skip Bayless says that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will only have 2 other losses after that, and they'll end up 13-3, and they will be the first home team in the Super Bowl. Ever. I mean, ever. In the history of the sport. It's pretty nuts. It's a pretty bold statement. And, you know, this works out great because I really don't like Brady, and he's never right about any of his predictions. So I'm feeling pretty good about this. I don't think I think there's a lot of things wrong with a 13-3 record with the Buccaneers. Tom Brady, once again, is this going to happen? Is there going to be a season? But on top of that, Tom Brady might not have much of an offseason to prepare, and then he's going to go 13-3 and get to the Super Bowl and be the first home team. We'll see. And then on the flip side, they were talking about the Patriots on that very show. And Skip has the Patriots going 6-10, which, again, I've talked about this multiple times, but if you write off Bill Belichick, you're an idiot. I mean, 6-10 is pretty low. The weapons that they have, not fantastic, but I feel like they're loading up on defense, and Belichick's going to play to his strengths. And that division, Buffalo is looking pretty great, and I'm pretty excited about that, you know? But I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that Bill Belichick still figures this shit out. For all the people saying the Jets are coming or the Dolphins are coming, I think they're a little ways off. I could see it going very much either way, leaning way more towards the losing side for both those teams. So then you just have the Bills to worry about. And they do have a tough schedule, but I'm just not going to write off a guy that always figures shit out and cheats. I don't think either of those predictions is right. But if the Patriots do win, if they do well, I'm sure Skip Bayless will say it's all luck. You know, he's not going to give him any credit. Why would he? He's never given anybody credit for winning when he didn't like them. Oh, on top of all of that, Skip Bayless said that Bill Belichick sabotaged Tom Brady last year by not giving him weapons. Yeah, I mean, that's very similar to his sabotaging Tom Brady in the Super Bowl by not playing Malcolm Butler theory. And I don't understand any of that because why would you sabotage your leader of your team? Because I'm pretty sure if Tom Brady loses when he was on the Patriots, Bill Belichick also loses. So I don't understand how that works. Why would you sabotage yourself? He's sabotaging himself if he sabotages Tom Brady. How does that help him? I don't know how that serves him in any way that's good. On top of that, the whole not having weapons thing, he drafted N'Keal Harry early, and I would assume he thought he was going to be really good. So he thought he was giving him a weapon, and maybe he will develop. And then he also signed Antonio Brown after he was ditched from the Raiders or left or whatever, that whole weird fucking episode. We all know what I'm talking about. So he got one of the best receivers in football, and he drafted a receiver he thought was going to be stud. So it wasn't for lack of trying to get him weapons. And then on top of that, Gronk retired at a weird time in the offseason. So, I don't know, he was kind of hit with that. And then he thought he got a weapons, and it just didn't pan out. So I don't think there was any sabotaging there. I think it's just how shit happens sometimes. Eli Manning came out. I don't know if you heard this, and he basically said Tom Brady might have some trouble early in the season with his new team because there's going to be adjustments. And, of course, Skip Bayless said that Eli Manning is just jealous of Tom Brady and all of his success. Well, we'll start with the obvious. Eli Manning beat him twice in the Super Bowl. So, he is like the winningest and possibly best quarterback of all time as far as accolades. But Eli Manning had a pretty great career. I don't think he's too jealous of much. I think it's a bizarre thing to say. There's definitely some truth to the fact that he might come out a little sluggish out of the gates for multiple reasons, one of which has not been addressed at all, which is there will be maybe no offseason. They might have like a week for all we fucking know to get their shit together. And Tom Brady hasn't been with his team. They're not practicing together. Although we all know that Tom Brady cheats, so he probably is practicing with all his teammates. But theoretically, there's going to be very little offseason to prepare. He's been with the team for 20 years. He knows all that down. He's got it all down pat. He knows what's going on there. But even then, with your old team, you still have to prepare in a way for the upcoming season that's different every year. And here, it's all new. Completely different coaching style, everything. And maybe a shortened off season. He's got to have chemistry with his new receivers, all that shit. But no, that's not right. It's just Eli Manning is jealous of Tom Brady. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady, I could see it either way. I could see him having a great season or a horrible season. I could see the Bucs having a great season. I don't think it would be because of Tom Brady, but I could see the Bucs either being horrible or fucking great because they do have a pretty good team around him, and I like Bruce Arians. Here's another thing to think about. Even when Tom Brady was with the Patriots, many times they came out of the gate sluggish and didn't do well. And Belichick would always figure it out and he'd piece it together and then they'd go on a playoff run. So if that's happening, why is it going to be any different with a team that he's totally new to? I don't understand. But yeah, Eli Manning is jealous. Skip Bayless, another bad take. He says that Jalen Hurts being on the Eagles is a problem. He thinks that it just shows that they have no faith in Carson Wentz. Look, he has injury issues. That is true. But I don't think that Jalen Hurts is just going to be thrown in the mix week 2 if Carson Wentz is having a bad game. Are Philly fans brutal? Yes. So I guess way down the line, maybe that could be a thing. But they also, I'm pretty sure, are pretty into Carson Wentz. He's a good quarterback. Much better than Dak Prescott. I don't see Jalen Hurts putting pressure on anytime soon, especially once again because we might not have an offseason. And he has to make a transition to the NFL. See, my dog agrees. And I just don't understand why Jalen Hurts is a problem for the Eagles, but Andy Dalton is a solution, according to Skip Bayless with the Cowboys. Doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. He thinks that Andy Dalton is going to be a great addition. And why is that? Why does Andy Dalton not take away from Dak Prescott? You don't think that's going to be the same problem that Jalen Hurts presents? One of those is wrong. Speaking of Dallas, Skip Bayless says that Cee Dee Lamb is going to change life in Dallas. He thinks the Cowboys are going to win the division easily once again. And, I just think the Eagles won it last year with a pretty weak squad. So why are you suddenly excited about this team? Look, man, I do like Cee Dee Lamb, but repeating everything I said 10 times just before, it's not going to be much of an offseason. Rookies, in many cases, struggle at many positions. So, Cee Dee Lamb's going to be great. I'm excited for it. But I don't know that he's just going to change life in Dallas immediately. I think he'll be a weapon. He'll be good, but with the lack of an offseason and reps and working on chemistry with Dak, or what if Dak sets out and it's Dalton? They have, he's got to do the same with him. How is he going to make that big of an impact? That's it. Well, watch him. He's just going to tear it up. He's going to be the next Randy Moss. We'll see. Again, I am a Cee Dee Lamb fan. I just think it's going to be a tough season for rookies to adjust when it's already tough enough. So Skip Bayless basically was saying Randall Cobb was trash compared to Cee Dee Lamb, but I think Randall Cobb had a great season. And a rookie versus a wily vet, I find it difficult that he's going to be much better than Randall Cobb. And I think part of that also is just that Skip Bayless also thought Taco Charlton was going to take over the NFL. So there's that. And that clearly did not happen. And DeAndre Hopkins, who is, if not the best receiver, one of the top three, his rookie season, he had 52 receptions for 802 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, I don't know, man. It's hard. And that was with a full off season. So, we'll see what happens. But, obviously, I am rooting for him, and I hope it works out. And also, here's a fart. Man, that was brutal. Well, guys, I'm sure you heard about it. Earl Thomas made the headlines, if you're not aware. Holy shit, where have you been? That was the best story that's happened in sports in forever. If you didn't hear the story, Earl Thomas was caught cheating in bed with another woman by his wife, and she actually put a gun to his head, and he had to wrestle that gun from her. And if that story wasn't crazy enough, also in that bed was his brother and another woman. And guys, I don't think it's that weird. I don't know what the big fuss was about. If you're close, you're close. You do everything together. You want to have a good time. I don't really. It's funny. I saw like the next day Colin Cowherd reacting to it, and he just didn't want to touch it. From what I saw, he was just like, yeah, let's not go there. Well, I definitely wanted to at least brush on the subject. I think it was like his birthday. Is that a birthday thing? Is that something that my brothers are holding back from me? I thought we were close. I will say there's some messed up stuff that happens in the lives of athletes. Earl Thomas got on Instagram or some social media and said, look, I was upset this was getting leaked, but I just wanted to get ahead of it. And life doesn't always go as planned. So I just want you guys to put us in our prayers as we deal with this, difficult time. Gotta say, that's honestly more than what most athletes say or do. Half the time they'll be caught red-handed and they just deny all of it. So, hey, man, good on him for that, at least. Also, life doesn't go as planned. What was the end plan there with your brother in bed? Some Game of Thrones shit right there. Holy crap. This feels so stupid after getting away from that story, but I just thought this was real silly. On Skip's show, they're doing it from their homes. And at one point, I think they were talking, they make these bets and they always put Diet Mountain Dew on the line. Cases of Diet Mountain Dew on the line because Skip Bayless loves Diet Mountain Dew. And at one point, he took a sip after some argument, And he said, breakfast of champions. That's right. Skip Bayless says Diet Mountain Dew is the breakfast of champions. He also says, he only eats like chicken, like baked chicken every night for every meal, every day, every meal, all of it. And he runs and he's this really healthy guy, but then he drinks Diet Mountain Dew for breakfast. Oh, that's only the most unhealthy thing you can do. He doesn't drink, and he makes a big deal about that, and yet he does this. We could argue Diet Mountain Dew is worse. Also, it's such a level of gross to escalate it to diet. Mountain Dew is gross enough, but Diet Mountain Dew, fucking disgusting. I don't know if you've seen those studies where they put like like a dead mouse in a can of Mountain Dew and then it just deteriorates. But yeah, that's what's going on in the inside of Skip Bayless. Before we get to the rumor, this is a bummer, and I maybe I should have said it up top. I don't know. I might be freezing 69th base here for a little bit. I say that I've been thinking that for weeks. And I keep it going, but there's a chance this is the last episode for a while, and I'm sorry to say that, and I really appreciate everybody that's been following along the whole time, even during this weird ass time. I know everybody has a lot of shit going on, but I really have to pick. I have to listen to more bullshit to really pick and find topics that are somewhat entertaining. And I mean, last week I made the most I could out of Andy Dalton. It's just a weird time for sports, and the fact that we don't know what's going on with sports. It also feels like this weird, odd tease for me. It's one thing to make fun of Skip Bayless and all these pundits for their bad takes when sports is happening, but when sports really aren't happening, and that's all we've got, it makes me a little sad inside, and I might have to take a little time out. During this time, just freeze it for a little bit, maybe put it on ice and see what happens until shit gets real again. And feel free to DM me with your thoughts. Let me know what's up. And during that time, I'll be keeping Earfinger afloat because it's gonna get real weird. We're gonna do some shit there. It's going to be real fun. My other podcast. I'm sorry to disappoint anybody out there that's because I know like a lot of you are so cool about this, and thank you for all the support. But please understand why that makes sense a little bit. And let's just get really goofy on Earfinger, you guys. With that said, let's start the rumor. And who knows? And again, there's a chance I can't put it away next week because I do love talking sports, and it's hard. And maybe sports gets brought up in the other podcasts here and there, but we'll see. But just in case you don't hear from me on this podcast for a while, that's why. With all that said, let's start a new rumor. Here it is. Man, this is crazy. But I heard Skip Bayless drinks Diet Mountain Dew because one time he saw Brendan Fraser drink it, and he loves himself some Brendan Fraser. So he just became obsessed, and he started drinking Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew, all the time. He actually loves Brendan Fraser so much, he built a Brendan Fraser museum in his home that he charges his wife admission to at the end of each night, regardless of what happened that day, so that she must move along through each, in quotes, wing of the museum and take it all in from his work in Encino Man to Doom Patrol. So you thought he was obsessed with Michael Jordan. Oh, man. Don't get him started on Brendan Fraser. Yeah, that's what led him to Diet Mountain Dew. Oh, man. I'm getting all sad now. Now I don't want this to end, If I'm not back next week, switch over to Earfinger for a little bit. And I know, it's not going to be sports-centric, but I'm going to be telling stories. I've just been getting high on there and watching children's programming. But I'm going to step that one up a little bit, and we're going to do some different stuff, which I've been teasing for a while, and I haven't been doing it, but it's going to happen, and it's going to get real crazy over there, and it's going to be fun. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys can switch over in the meantime and give that a listen. And seriously, thank you for all the support. I'll be back with this, but let's have some fun in some crazy ways over on Earfinger. And of course, stay healthy, stay safe, stay sane, be good. Talk to you soon.
69th Base with Doug Millard was recorded in front of a live studio audience presented by Hormel Chili Radio Productions.